Nobody beats Axe 29 times in a row. For the first time in 11 years, the greatest Pikachu player to ever play Super Smash Bros. Melee defeated his bracket demon, Hungrybox's Jigglypuff. But as you might have already figured out from the footage, he didn't do it with Pikachu. In Losers Top 8 of Riptide, Axe busted out Hungrybox's biggest nemesis, Fox McCloud, and ran him over, taking the set 3-1, including a 2-stock victory to take the decisive Game 4. Today, let's take a look at the 11 years of history Axe overcame at Riptide, and answer the question, did the world's best Pikachu really need Fox to do it?
There's that grab.
Can he do it?
Oh my god.
First time in 11 years soon, is this gonna happen?
Up throw.
Hang on.
Back
Back
no way! It was back throw! First time in 11 years since MLG Anaheim 2014. He said, damn, I did that? Did I do that?
Am I that guy?
Am I him? I'm that guy!
Okay, so the funny thing about this matchup is that Pikachu is so close to having something against the Demon Pink Puffball. Unlike most of the top tiers that Jigglypuff does so well against, it can be extremely hard for her to access her typical win conditions against Pikachu. The easiest example of this is up throw rest, which is terrifying for the Spaceys at low percents. Pikachu, well, he goes way too high from Jigglypuff's up throw for her to get anything out of it. And then there's the edge guards. Despite the insane distance on Fox's recovery, his fall speed and rather linear up B allow Jigglypuff to just systematically take his resources until she can tap in the edge guard. The flexibility you get from Pikachu's recovery means that he doesn't have to sweat as much just because he was knocked off stage. If you want to see that in action, just look at the closest Axe had come to taking a set off H-Box prior to Riptide. That came 6 years ago at Genesis 6, at the end of one of the greatest runs of Axe's storied career. After an early loss to S2J, Axe had taken out Zane and Plup as part of a 7-set losers run to reach Grand Finals. He was quite literally playing as hot as ever, and it continued into Grands against H-Box. Every single game of this set was a slog, and Axe was able to consistently keep his stocks deep into the triple digits. He was able to grind out 2 game wins, a couple of last stock thrillers to keep his Genesis dreams alive, and it still wasn't enough. Why? Because Pikachu has to work even harder to access his win conditions. In theory, moves like Up Smash and Thunder could lead to early kills that could skew the matchup in Pikachu's favor. But the math just barely doesn't work out for Pikachu to be able to combo into those big hits. We're talking just a few frames of advantage after a down throw, by the way. With even 3 more frames, Pikachu would be able to confirm throws into kills with his powerful up smash, but instead of mid% grabs turning into easy stocks, Pikachu has to work for everything, finding stray hits, praying for bad DI, and sometimes waiting to kill until Jigglypuff is deep into triple digits herself. Just to make it obvious, but that is a problem, a huge one, because when it comes to wars of attrition in Super Smash Bros. Melee, nobody beats Jigglypuff. The numbers on this one paint a pretty clear picture, so let's dive into Hungrybox's history against the Little Yellow Rat, which is to mostly say his numbers against Axe, but he does have a little bit of history against some other Pikachu players. Prior to Riptide, Hungrybox's only other set loss to a Pikachu player at a major offline tournament came at MLG Anaheim 2014, of course against Axe. That set actually started with Axe attempting to do what Armada had done a couple years back and counterpick Jigglypuff with Young Link, but Hungrybox 2-stocked it to start off the set. Axe then went to the Pokemon and did exactly what Pikachu does well in that matchup, live practically forever. It was enough to fluster H-Box, and 3 games later, Axe's Pikachu had defeated Hungrybox for the first time ever, and what now, with the power of hindsight, looks like it will be the only time ever. Since then, Hungrybox has been utterly dominant against the Pikachu, winning 37 out of 46 games with character data according to Liquipedia, an insane 80.4% win rate. While that kind of game win rate doesn't suggest an upset is impossible, it leads to an expected win rate of 94.5% in best of 5 sets. Straight up odds would suggest that Axe should have won about 1 out of every 20 sets, but obviously that's not how head-to-head matchups really work, especially not against one of the clutchest players in Melee's history. There's another Pikachu that Hungrybox has an extensive set history with named Jaychu, a fellow Floridian who ascended to the Melee Top 100 for the first time in 2024, landing at 93rd. Jaychu has won against H-Box in an online set with Pikachu, but offline, Hungrybox has always taken care of business, with a 3-0 set count and a 9-2 game count in his favor. Those 2 games, though, came in a set that brought him as close as he's ever come to losing to a Pikachu. Their CEO 2024 set came down to a Game 5. And like most of Axe's best efforts against Hungrybox, this was an absolute war of attrition, a half-an-hour set that came down to the final stock and the final minute of Game 5. But as usual, Hungrybox clutched up, and in a way he probably never expected he'd have to do against a Pikachu not named Axe. It's a set that might have given Pikachu players some hope, but if it did, the pair of swift 3-0s that Hungrybox has delivered since stuffed it out rather quickly.
You gotta make something happen fast. Oh, the reverse forward air looked like, and that's gonna do it, just super. Oh my goodness,
Boot.dev has paid to be mentioned in today's video. Boot.dev is building the smartest way to master back-end development by tackling the hardest problem with e-learning, boredom. Their platform gamifies back-end development with things like XP, levels, achievements, quests, and leaderboards to get you writing code faster while also having fun. It feels like an RPG game that teaches you things, which, learning, cool. Boot.dev's courses are completely online and self-paced, and they even have a Discord community to help you out with any roadblocks you may run into, which also organizes bi-monthly boss fights where you can gain bonus experience for each lesson completed during the event. If you end up not liking it too, Boot.dev offers a 30-day no questions asked refund policy. And even better, if you don't want to pay at all, there's a free demo of every single course they offer, and all of their content is free to read and watch in guest mode. So if you're interested in learning coding while also helping me out a bit, since to be honest, sponsors are one way to keep channels like mine going, click the link in the description box and use my code turndownforALT to get 25% off your first month or even your entire first year if you choose the annual plan, which is honestly a pretty good deal. Thanks again to Boot.dev for supporting the channel, happy coding, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. There's also a mental barrier at play when you have to play a matchup that difficult against an opponent that strong and consistent. It's a barrier so strong that most of the strongest Pikachus in the world don't even bother to play the matchup. Swift, one of the best Pikachus of the early 2020s, never even tried the Pokemon against Hungrybox, instead always opting for Fox. These sets were online when Hungrybox was arguably at his weakest, but the Fox did pull off some big wins for Swift, at Gallant Melee Open in 2021 and Gigaschwab in 2022. Swift did lose both offline sets to Hungrybox in his career though, a pair of 3-1s at both Smash Summit 12 in 2021 and LACS 5 in 2023.
I don't really think that's how Pikachu works, because while there are things that like quote unquote invalidate Pikachu, like say like Puff just platform camping or something, it's not that way with like Fox at all.
Axe's confidence in Pikachu's ability to do it against Jigglypuff never really held up for long. For a while after the MLG win, he believed in Pikachu, using him for all but one game across the next 6 sets he and Hungrybox played, but then the doubt kinda set in, and he spent about as much time trying Young Link and Falco as he did leaning on Pikachu. In a 6-tournament stretch between Enthusiast Gaming Live Expo 2016 and Smash Summit 6 in 2018, Axe played 22 games against Hungrybox and only used Pikachu in 10 of them. Zoomed in on that 6-tourney stretch, and yeah. Axe did have a couple of close calls against Hungrybox in this stretch, which just speaks to his skill. At CEO 2017, Axe earned a 2-1 lead with the Pikachu before switching to Young Link for Game 4. And that might seem like he was throwing away momentum here, but Hungrybox had taken him to Dreamland, a stage on which he owns a 6-0 game count against Axe's Pikachu. That stage had honestly proven to be an auto loss, and he felt like he needed to try something new. It didn't work, and Hungrybox clutched out a near JV2 against the Pikachu in Game 5 on Yoshi's Story to win the set. At SmashCon later that same year, the Pikachu just couldn't get anything going, but a switch to Young Link earned a timeout victory in Game 3 and an outright victory in Game 4 on the Dreamland counterpick, proving that there was at least some merit to Axe's switch at CEO. But once again, it just wasn't enough, as he ran out of gas in Game 5 as HBox won with a 3-stock. That's definitely a sequence of events that would plant some character doubt in anybody's head. With offline events cancelled over the course of the pandemic, Axe finally had the time to develop his Fox without sacrificing short-term results. Once offline play returned in 2022, Axe was fully committed to Fox in the Jigglypuff matchup. There wasn't much of a difference in results upon the switch at first. Axe pushed Hungrybox to a Game 5 at Smash Summit 14 in 2022, and again at the Big House 11 in 2023, but leading up to this Riptide, the Fox was just 9-30 in games against Hungrybox's Jigglypuff. a 23% win rate that barely bested his Pikachu's 19%. But there was one obvious difference between Axe's approach to the matchup in the 2010s and his approach this decade. In the 10 tournaments prior to the Riptide win, Axe had played 39 games against Hungrybox and never once wavered from his Fox pick. Never once did he go back to the comfort of Pikachu. He knew that if he was ever going to take down his biggest bracket demon, it was going to be with the help of Melee's strongest character. The character so many others have used when faced with the same obstacle over the past decade. He had only pushed HBox to a decisive 5th game twice, but he still stayed the course. Watching Axe's Fox against Hungrybox, you can still see the Pikachu in his gameplay too. He knew exactly when to pull the trigger and find raw up smashes for kills, which were often the only way he could take an early stock as Pikachu. He made incredible use of cross-up Nair, one of Pikachu's strongest tools in every matchup. He even used Fox's forward air like it was Pikachu's. But this set also saw him mix those unique aspects of his play with the script Fox players have developed over the past decade to deal with Hungrybox. He spaced out his lasers but stayed close enough that he could find grabs when HBox tried to hide and shield. He was insanely consistent with up throw up air, even finding ways to connect only with the second hit, so HBox had no opportunity to SDI out as he's done so many times against other Foxes. And of course, he had a little help from the melee gods.
Drill. Phantom Red!
Over the years, Axe had come so close to taking down Hungrybox a few times with his Pikachu, and even with his young Link. Despite all the losses, he had proven over and over again that he was one of the best players at surviving against the world's best Jigglypuff. And he had shown he could win neutral enough to push Hungrybox to the brink. But over and over again, Pikachu proved to not have enough firepower to make it matter. So did Axe need Fox to beat Hungrybox? He'd taken enough games with Pikachu over the years that statistics and the concept of entropy suggest that over enough matches, the stars would eventually align and enough chaos would reign for Axe to take 3 out of 5 games at some point. If you can get to this point, this close to victory, you can close it out. For Axe, who had struggled so mightily to get so close with Pikachu, it would have been easy to give up on the Fox experiment after so many failures and keep trying to push the boulder with Pikachu. But he had seen that it could be done. Other players before him, like Armada and Plup and even Swift, had managed to find a way through Hungrybox by building a Fox specifically for him. You can see that belief powering Axe through every set he played against Hungrybox in the 2020s. He kept taking games, and he kept sticking to his guns, never retreating to the familiar Pikachu, a character he clearly didn't believe could do it simply based on his own decisions in the sets he played in the second half of the 2010s. 11 years after his last win over Hungrybox and 11 sets into his own Fox experiment, Axe finally did it. He not only overcame Hungrybox, but a decade plus of history that said that he couldn't do it. It's a monument to his resiliency, and an upset that deserves its own page in the Melee history books. Thanks for watching.
Up a little bit. Oh, let's push that grab.
Can he do it?
Oh my God.
For the first time in 11 years, dude, is this gonna happen?
Up throw.
Hang on.
Back air.
Back
No way! It was back throw! First time in 11 years since MLG Anaheim 2014.
I can't believe it.
He said, damn, I did that?
Did I
do
me?
that?
Am I that guy?
Am I him?
I think
I'm
you
that
are.
guy.
And
It's
Jeff,
me. This is the first time
the
he's
crowd.
cleared that hurdle in so long.
I'm so proud of him.
Oh my
We've all
God.
been watching this lopsided matchup take place again and again, the disappointment again and again. It sounds like he just won the tournament right now.
I mean, I tried coming into this. I was like, we got to frame this as like, this is the first time the dam breaks. Maybe it happens. I wasn't expecting. Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah, boy.
He's done it. Oh my God.
Man.
But a counter pick finally pays off.
Big thanks to my top supporters on Patreon and YouTube memberships. You can also get your name in the credits at the $5 level, which all goes right back into producing more videos on this channel. So thanks to Avishua Bobby Wasabi, Dark Gen X, Eric is Cool, Gustavo Cantu Fernandez, Henry Huang, Ian, James Fabman, Jazz the Pirate, Justin Duncan Mills, Kyle Carlin, Marshall Bradley, and Sam Wright.